The college student. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. William Shakespeare. Tom was failing in college, especially in math, which was his weakest subject. It was at least partially due to the fact that his modest means required his working nights to pay the ever-rising tuition, his rent and food. He was always sleepy when he tried to study, and the noise and disturbance was so discouraging that he was considering dropping out, getting a day job, and relieving his stresses. Still, Tom hated facing the future with no expertise and being relegated to the leftovers of life. He despaired for ever graduating or resolving his dilemma. One night, a diner in the all-night restaurant where Tom worked as a waiter forgot a book on his table. Tom noticed that it was entitled Imagination, and in the wee hours when things were quiet, he began to browse through its pages. The author described the function of the mind and how to initiate the right causes for the desired effect. So fascinated was Tom that he took the book home, devoured it, and returned it to the restaurant the following evening. He felt that the instruction held the solution to his problem, and he set about putting it into practice. Though it seemed to him highly speculative, Tom changed his attitude from worry to creative imagination by assuming that he had already graduated and was now enjoying the consequences. After about a week's practice, he discovered that he could determine his own state of mind. Where he had been discouraged, he was now creating his self-designed future and already felt lighter and brighter. With a positive attitude, Tom practiced thinking that he had a great job. Shortly, he was motivated to cross the campus to the Office of Employment to see if there was anything new. Noticing a listing with that day's date, he found that it was a request for a living babysitter. He hadn't thought of himself in such a role, but decided to check it out. To his great surprise, the request came from the home of an astrophysics professor. The duties were very light, and it offered a pleasant room, food, and a bit of pocket money. Realizing that this was infinitely better than his present situation, Tom jumped at the chance. The couple was pleasant, and watching the baby while they were frequently out was an ideal time for him to study. About twice a month, the couple invited friends to dinner, and Tom enjoyed helping his working hostess prepare and serve the food. He was so pleased to live in their pleasant home and to be treated with kindness and respect. He looked for ways to help them well beyond their expectations. To show his appreciation and growing affection for his hosts and their child, he elected to do all the cleaning, shopping, errands, and help the professor with his home preparations for class, as well as look after the child. His host, a brilliant and resourceful professor, suggested that Tom prepare for a teaching career at the university level. Tom felt that he had not had sufficient preparation in math, so essential in that field, although he was fascinated by the subject. The professor offered to teach him all that was required to prepare him for his prestigious position. Tom couldn't believe his good fortune. His spirits soared. With his less than modest means and inadequate preparation, he could never have hoped for such a marvellous career. How, he wondered, could he have been so lucky? But on reflection, he realized that it had not been luck, but his desire to improve his conditions and his effort to check out offers of employment on the campus bulletin board. Yet, the fact that he was engaged to take care of the child with light home duties did not account for this most incredible career opportunity. To be privately tutored by so respected a person was an honour for which he could find no merit. Tom was beside himself with joy. With the help of the professor, he was assured not only of graduating, but of becoming a fully fledged professor of one of the most highly advanced sciences. His elation mounted, his love and appreciation for both his hosts and their dear child was unbounded, and the spring in his step was so light that he could barely feel the ground under his feet. With the help of his professor, Tom made great strides in his studies, and the mutual benefits of their home arrangements were so delightful and highly valued by all that Tom remained in the family throughout his studies, his graduation, and the additional degrees required for his teaching career. Best of all, his host was instrumental in his receiving a professorship at his alma mater. One day, Tom asked his host why, with no merit on his part, he had offered him the honour of his private coaching to prepare him for his career. He was astonished and deeply moved by the unexpected answer he received. "Because," said his host, "you gave your best effort to all you undertook. Your attention to our comfort and pleasure has been unbounded, and you are persevering and meticulous in all details. Together with your natural intelligence, this is the stuff of which able physicists are made." Tom turned his head away to conceal his misty eyes. It takes a person who is wide awake to make his dreams come true. Roger Bacon. End of this chapter.